of us are still searching for the right thing to do. I don't know what God told me to do. Can I give you this? There's no way under the sun that you can be faithful to God's word and don't know what he told you to do.
The year 1995, my father, Dr. Addis and First Lady Gwendolyn received a call to come to Kalamazoo. And I did not want to come because I left all my friends and everything I knew as a 14-year-old. And as we look through the years, even through COVID, our church has never missed a beat. We've always been in ministry and helping out. He's put us in the game like EA Sports. And in 2025, it's still growing.
First thing I'd like to say it's an honor and a privilege to have been a member of Mount Zion Baptist Church for 90 years. My parents, Claude and Pearlie Atkinson, were some of the originators of this church.
So we were really excited when Pastor Moore and his family came. When Pastor Moore came, he started out with building the church, rebuilding the church. That was his emphasis. We had before spent a lot of time in the community and not as much time in the church. So he started rebuilding the church. He had his ideas of Sunday school expanding and classrooms expanding and all of that. I was so excited because we did not have air conditioning. And one of the first things Pastor Moore did was to add air conditioning. He had my vote right away.
When I first came to Mount Zion in 2011, I was a freshman in college. I thought Pastor Moore was a great man and a man of God, actually. And I was like, wow, this was a great example of a man that I should be following. And he set the example of things that I want to follow in my life so I could be impactful like he has in the church. As I became more involved in the church, I've noticed how he was leading by example, and seeing him lead the charge of the debt being paid off was a huge thing. And when school was over, I went back home, and I came back after 7 years, and when I came back to the church, Pastor Moore remembered me, and that really impacted me, and I really appreciate that. So thank you, Pastor Moore. Congratulations on 30 years.
Between the year 2015, 2020, the discussion for the senior housing project began. I believe I came on around 2019, so the project has been in works for years. It's good that we are right upon the precipice, as they would say, of them finally breaking ground. You know, just to be involved in that throughout the last 6-7 years has been a great accomplishment to see Pastor's vision coming to life.
I started working here in 1974, and I had joined church here when I was really young. Mount Zion was always a giving church, and then when Pastor Moore came and he started preaching about obeying God and being a giver, it seemed like we got more tithes coming in, and we were able to do some more things. We had a food pantry. We were able to serve people food that didn't have it. We were able to help people with their maybe consumer bill. We were able to pay off the first part of the church, and then Pastor Moore added on the chapel, offices, and classrooms on the other side, and a library, a gym, and a new kitchen. So he just kind of took things a little higher.
So as I think of people being baptized through this ministry, ministers being ordained through this ministry, one that comes to mind to me that brought excitement and showed the forward thinking of Pastor Moore was the ordination of Reverend Burns. I'd known her, she was one of the first person that I met when I came to Mount Zion. And to see that occur through this ministry was exciting and rewarding. And I think it set the tone for the ministers we see today.
One of the things that Pastor Moore has taught us over the years is that Mount Zion doesn't need to be the best church in this community. Mount Zion needs to be the best church for the community. And Pastor Moore has been consistent with that belief over the years. And Pastor Moore has said that if there is any community group that needs to use our facility, they are able to come in and do so. And often, even as a trustee myself, I, would occasionally talk about, well, maybe charging a small fee. But Pastor Moore would have none of that. For the good of the community, he opened our doors to let the community come in and use our facility. We are here for the community. And every day we are continuing to try to empower people to transform themselves and the community. And it's happening.
Pastor and First Lady Gwendolyn Moore, thank you so much for 30 years of pastoral service and ministry. First Lady, thank you for being such an amazing example to us as a body, but also as women. Your service, your sacrifice, your support and love of Pastor Moore does not go unnoticed. And also your love and support and care for our community. Thank you so much for all that you do. We love you, and again, happy 30th anniversary to Pastor Moore, First Lady Gwendolyn Moore, and the entire Moore family.
If you show up, you'll grow up. That's not just a motto, that's a movement that Pastor Moore has led and lived for the last 30 years. When I first walked into Mount Zion as a teenager, I was like many of you. I was looking for direction, I was looking for a sense of belonging, and my purpose. Pastor Moore and his family have been a living testimony of what it looks like to see a vibrant community living by faith. Through his teaching and preaching, and through his discipleship and development, Pastor Moore has showed us how we can be empowered to transform ourselves and the community. And we also have an endowment fund, which allows for Mount Zion to have an investment in the ministry that we're doing now and in perpetuity for generations to come. Think about this. Our senior pastor from Mount Zion Baptist Church in Kalamazoo, Michigan, is now impacting the world as Dean of the National Baptist Convention, Congress of Christian Education. Because of Pastor Moore's vision and God's power, we move forward boldly, faithfully, and fruitful. So Pastor Moore, First Lady Gwen, Reverend Michael, Reverend Christopher, and to your beautiful and growing families. Congratulations and thank you for 30 years of showing up, helping us grow up, and for building a legacy that transforms lives for generations to come.